Hi there, Capricorn. Welcome to your end of May 2025 general tarot update. It's Rena here. Alrighty then. Okay, this is kind of jumping out at me. Ooh. Do I have two cards? It's two cards. Okay. 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 I'm trying to think here. So, okay. I was like, okay, are there any Cancer? So your opposite sign is Cancer, and we're talking about the seventh house because I was getting seventh house vibes here. And the seventh house is the house of committed partnership. And I was like, okay, but Cancer, okay, we're going to have a new moon in Cancer, but that's at the end of June. So we're talking about the end of May, not the end of June. And then I thought about that Mars retrograde, and that went back into Cancer. So there might have been something. Now, it could be, I will say that the death card could be because it started off in Leo for you, which is your eighth house, and that could be what do they call those? Inheritance, a probate issue that sparked off a kind of a legal battle, if you will. So it could be something along those lines that has nothing to do with, marriage or anything, but it also could have been marriage related, I suppose. The heart of the matter is the Ace of Cups. This is new love coming in for you. And one of the things that I would say about this card in particular is if this is something like legal related, it might be that somebody, it's almost like a peace offering. Like they're saying, can we start fresh with our relationship? Maybe it's a family member or something like that. So I could see it from that point of view as well. But I'll just say like new love, in general. Or if you're starting a business that's creative or it's in the healing arts, it could be that as well. Or thinking of starting one. In the past position, we have the Six of Pentacles, which is a card of give and take. By the way, there's work happening in the street next door, so I'm sorry if I have the windows closed, but I can hear it, so I'm afraid you might be able to too. But anyway, hopefully it's not going to be too distracting, as it is for me. But anyway, the Six of Pentacles, sometimes you can see that this woman is offering a gift and they're on their knees. So they're kind of like in need of her gift. The Pentacles can relate to money or any kind of like possession, material item. And this card is represented or represents like give and take with energy, like energy exchange. That's an even energy exchange. So you work someplace and you're getting compensated fairly for the amount of work that you're doing or the amount of credentials that you have that you put into being qualified, that kind of thing. And so maybe you have, and same with relationships, like somebody's putting all their energy into a relationship and the other person's kind of indifferent. That kind of shows that it's an imbalanced situation. So maybe this could have been a marriage where you felt like you were doing the heavy lifting in the relationship and you didn't feel it's not about tit for tat. I think that a lot of people think along those lines that, oh, she's saying that, one person is putting a lot of money into the situation or dating. No, no, no. It's not about that. Like who buys dinner. It's about, because somebody could be, the one who's financially supporting the other party, but the other person is putting a lot of their own energy into the relationship in their own way. Um, it's not like that clear cut sometimes. But you may feel like you were looking for something like that, whether it was in the workplace or in your private life. The higher message is the death card. So basically what it's saying is that this situation is over with. If you were in a situation where you were kind of, like, oh wow, I want to, experience this or that, and this type of relationship, and maybe at one time it felt more uh, equal, and now it doesn't. And it's really about accepting what is versus trying to get something to be what it can't be because you're attached to the past. So it's about, it's really about gracefully letting go of something. What crosses you is the Three of Cups. This could be to look to your social circle because there might be things that are going on there that are not really supportive of you in some way. For instance, someone might be encouraging you, or you might have your friends encouraging you to stay in a toxic job or relationship because maybe they're in a toxic job or relationship and they feel like if one of their friends is trying to do better in their life, that reflects upon them and they don't want that kind of scrutiny. So they're like, yeah, be with that person. That person is like, trying to defend the status quo and not changing and not trying to do better. And the reason I say be careful of that is that you could be having somebody encourage you to, not reach your highest level or to keep you down. And this can also be in terms of any potential new relationships. Sometimes it is better, I think, to just kind of like deal with your relationships yourself, cultivate them, I should say, yourself before you introduce them to other people, because those people, if they're not happy within themselves, they could definitely try to sabotage it. Even people that aren't like just pure evil, people who are just insecure, sometimes they don't realize that they're actually doing what they're doing, that they're being destructive. It doesn't mean that it's right, but it just means that they don't have that ability to kind of like be honest with themselves and see how they're not encouraging, their friend, the person that they are supposed to be supportive of. And I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about supporting somebody who's with an abusive person. I'm talking about just in general. What's coming in is the Five of Pentacles. This is a card of, it can be like, in some cases, it can be unemployment. So for instance, if you decide to leave a job because it's not fair, like with the Six of Pentacles, the pay isn't fair. You don't feel like you're being treated as you should be. You may feel, and this is, I think with Capricorn, this is something that you just do because you tend to be you might be very reactive when it comes to your resources and overdo it. Where you might be like, oh my gosh, I don't have any money when you clearly do, but you're just like, maybe you have to live on savings for a little while if you've quit your job, and that's okay because you have the resources. You have to keep reminding yourself that you have the resources, because you might be inclined to look at it in some kind of a negative way. By the way, you are going to have Saturn entering your 10th house. Saturn enters Aries, or is that, no, that's actually your 4th house, Capricorn. You're going to have Saturn entering your 4th house on May 24th. So it is going to be in this time period. And Saturn is your ruler. So this is something to pay attention to, because Saturn hasn't changed signs for a few years. And your ruler changing signs is very important for you. So in that 4th house, that's going to mean that there may be things about your home life that are very restricted for the next few years. And maybe it does involve, you don't get new furniture, you do, you know what I mean? You're because there's something else that you're trying to do. You might be like buying your first home though. And so you're just really putting a lot of discipline into your home life, or a lot of work into your home. That could definitely be what's going on. Maybe you're working from home. So you have to be careful with the 5 of Pentacles, because the stained glass windows in the background show that the person might be neglecting their spiritual life or their material life, and just focus like, oh my gosh, you know. And remember that lack consciousness could be totally in the person's head, that it's not really true for them, but they have that kind of, they're fear-based in that way. So they tend to think the worst. The outcome is the 7 of Pentacles, and this is watching something grow. So what it suggests to me is that some of you have either fallen in love with somebody that you don't feel quite ready to start a relationship with, or you're just kind of like taking it very slowly. And the 7 of Pentacles is like, let's see how this is going to work. Or if this is a job, you might be, if you have received some kind of an offer, you might be just very, very much on the lookout to see if this is something that you really want to devote. Maybe it's a side hustle. Who knows? And you're just wanting to see, is this enough to support me full time? You know, can I leave my day job? You know, it could be one of those deals. 7 of Pentacles is very much focused on watching for growth. All right, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, be it astrology, the tarot, or both, I have package deals for buying more than one reading at one time. And I have single readings. You can check the link below for more details. Thanks for watching. Bye.